Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to Everything Meta episode 24. Congratulations on the 24th episode for those of you like me and you who appreciate a good number 24. This is also the first of the month, September 1st at the time of this recording. It is the beginning of school season. So for those of you who are have kids in school and are going through that back to school transition, good luck. In that spirit, I do have a young person that we're going to watch talk to us about cryptocurrency. But before we do, I'd like to introduce and welcome my co-host, Joey. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Ken. Hey.
All right. All right, Joey. Look, man, I know you don't know the specifics. I guess you can see, obviously, the title of this video. I'm going to play it and periodically pause it, and we will go from there.
Right on.
Something tells me you cannot hear this.
Mm-mm.
All right. Not a problem. I'll try this
Oh,
one
it's
more time.
muted. You just press unmute there.
Yeah. Did I do that? Let's try this again.
Bitcoin, a new creation that is going to change our everyday finance and the way how we use our money. It was created by an anonymous person or a group of people working under cryptonym of Satoshi Nakamoto. Every day we hear in the media how good they are.
I'm going to stop already. Do you believe, or what do you believe the origin story of Bitcoin is?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you like the mystery? Do you think the mystique is necessary?
I think that's cool. Why not? It's nice to be anonymous. Sometimes I wish I was anonymous, It'd be nicer.
I believe that.
And how many possibilities cryptocurrencies can create. However, what about the negative sides? Bitcoin has already been once classified as a speculative bubble. Yet, a new frenzy in 2021 is occurring. Recently, Elon Musk made a huge bet by buying almost $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and reported that his company, Tesla, is going to accept payments made by cryptocurrencies. It is, of course, set to increase the demand for a current speculative market to become a real one.
Wow.
Oh, got a bad connection, huh?
Well, worse, I downloaded this just so I can avoid that happening as we were watching it. But it didn't seem to matter, man. Let's try. Gosh, man. Hold on. So, in the interim, while I try to get the video back up, have you heard anything that you found to be significant thus far?
Oh, well, I think most things with perceived value are speculative, right? So, I mean, I think gold, shiny metals, right? Unless they're useful, there's a lot of precious metals that are used in some electronic manufacturing, right? So I think those are important. But yeah, I think a lot of things have speculative value. So I think that's kind of a weird criticism, because a lot of people, like you saw with the NFT craze, and even just fine art in general, it's all driven by speculative value, what somebody's willing to pay for it. I think Bitcoin isn't a very good cryptocurrency, right? It's like a dinosaur, it's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hardly useful. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to, Zero. Sure, it's scarce, right? That's what they tell you. It's scarce. There's only 21 million ever, but I don't know, whoever the salesperson was. Those guys are good, dude. God damn.
Yeah.
I sound like a misser, huh? Oh, shit.
No, I mean, I agree that, like, I mean, it's certain, we can't deny its place. I wonder about its usefulness. Like, I wonder why it's kind of like that cryptocurrency followed the model of like traditional, like fiat, basically, like the like you've just found gold, like now we're trading gold, like now we have gold as Bitcoin that no one really wants to use for anything, so now we'll base other cryptos off Bitcoin as we do the USD to gold or silver, like, and
Yeah.
so it seems like a bad use
Bitcoin.
of
A new
time.
creation that is going to change our everyday finance and the way how we use our money. It was created by an anonymous person or a group of people working under cryptonym of Satoshi Nakamoto. Every day we hear in the media how good they are and how many possibilities cryptocurrencies can create. However, what about the negative sides?
Negative
Bitcoin
sides.
has already been once classified as a speculative bubble. Yet,
Speculative
a new
bubble.
frenzy in 2021 is occurring. Recently, Elon Musk made a huge bet by buying almost $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and reported that his company, Tesla, is going to accept payments made by cryptocurrencies. It is, of course, set to increase the demand for a currently speculative market to become a real one. But there are some fundamental problems that will cause that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will fail one day. First of all, I need you to ask you a question. If you were ever able to actually buy anything with Bitcoin, I guess most of you have never even heard.
Did you buy your Tesla with Bitcoin?
No.
No. What did you think
No.
about that play?
About what he was saying?
About what
I think,
Elon did? Yeah.
I mean, he's a market mover, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's market manipulation or anything, but if the man wants to buy billions in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
he can go ahead and tell everybody that he did. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
okay, right? Public company, right? So probably report that. I don't know. I wouldn't. People really like Bitcoin, huh? I think it's weird. It's better than all the random ERC20 tokens out there, right?
Except for Cliff. Almost all of them.
Heard of places where you can buy things using it. And if you did, then you of course heard about the previously mentioned Tesla, probably Domino's Pizza, and of course Darknet. Most of the illegal internet sites operating in the Darknet, which sell drugs, guns, and child pornography, operate by Bitcoin payments. And it is done because of its anonymity. This anonymity that is supposed to be the biggest advantage of Bitcoin over other tradable goods is actually helping organized crime groups, terrorists, and countries willing to evade international sanctions as to transfer their money from one place to another without extensive money laundering.
You know what else has extreme anonymity?
Cash.
Cash. Yeah, last I checked.
Yeah.
Even more anonymous than something on the blockchain.
Yeah. I think God damn. That guy goes into some dark places, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's before noon, Try to think about these things at least sometime in the evening. You know?
I'll try to factor in the time difference in our recording next time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that there. I'm not sure what people would buy. I remember that you were able to buy certain things on Silk Road and whatnot using Bitcoin, right? Uh, I don't know how all that went. I wish I had Bitcoin then. You know,
Yeah.
like, not to buy things, but just to hold and forget about. I know that I know some bodybuilders. I know they used to have a lot of Bitcoin 'cause that's how they would get their steroids, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
from what I understand, this,
Allegedly.
yeah. But I don't think they have it anymore. Elon probably owns their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin. It's it feels like it's easily manipulated, right? There's not a ton of regulation. Whoever has a big pocket, can kind of move the price around, right? And retail is not it's not super retail friendly, right? So, although I think that it's cool. I don't know, man. When they put all these negative things onto digital currencies and whatnot, like they fail to forget that like the US dollar has contributed to more crime than anything, maybe ever. Aside from gold, right? Gold prior to the US dollar
Yeah.
probably had contributed to crime, more crime and death and destruct, whatever it is. So um they should look at that. I think this is coming from an imperfect perspective, guys. So
Well, to your point with the parallel that you just made and the one that I made prior to, if Bitcoin is the gold of crypto, then would it not make sense that it may be used for nefarious purposes?
yeah, well, generally, like, so gold now, right, is usually collateral.
Mhm.
Countries in their mint or their central bank will use the gold as some type of collateral, and that's how they obtain, most of their debt. It's never going to move.
Right.
And so maybe people, if they use Bitcoin as the gold, right, then that might be how they obtain more debt. Bitcoin fluctuates so much, so it's hard. It's hard to it's hard to nail it down, right? Maybe when it reaches a bit more maturity, maybe it'll have some type of more stable value. Like gold fluctuates, but it's not like
By hundreds, by tens of thousands.
60,000, 20,000, 60,000. Oh, it's going to 100.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that about gold, or maybe they are. I'm not. I'm not in it. I do know that I think that they're classifying Bitcoin as a commodity now, so it could potentially just follow, metals.
Mhm.
The same with ETH. I think they're saying like ETH is like the copper chart or something is what I've been seeing. So maybe that could follow
I wasn't aware of that. That's
metals.
cool.
Wondering. While many people like comparing Bitcoin to gold, when it comes to illegal trade, there are some fundamental differences. First of all, our yellow shining resource is heavy and hard to transport. And in order to finalize a transaction, you need to meet the recipient in person. Here, the advantage of Bitcoin, being a pure line of ones and zeros, comes to play. You can buy absolutely anything you need to commit a crime by just one click on your phone, and no federal authority will be informed about your potential illegal transaction. Other problem with Bitcoin is its lack of cybersecurity. While you're making a transaction through a centralized institution, such as a bank, there are several procedures they need to follow, as well as regulations in order to reduce any risk of theft. But when it comes to Bitcoin, these regulations barely exist. Until 2018, more than 980,000 Bitcoins were stolen just from crypto exchanges. And for today's Bitcoin value, it is more than $50 billion. And while there are some attempts to regulate the crypto trade, most of them are still inefficient and leaky. Thus, the concerns still remain, and further action is still needed. The most well-known country for banning crypto trade is China. It has completely banned initial coin offerings, as well as it only allows exchanges to facilitate trade, not to buy or sell any. Chinese financial institutions are also forbidden from any sort of trade regarding cryptocurrencies. Despite all these measures, crypto mining has not been addressed until recently. Oversimplifying it, a new Bitcoin is created every 10 minutes. And people with decryptive algorithms are trying to guess its serial number. While in 2015, only few people knew about cryptocurrencies, there was much less crypto mining centers that actually competed for getting one. But while the demand went up and up and up, more new crypto mining centers opened, and your chance to being the chosen one got lower and lower. And that is why crypto...
Quickly, what's your take on that, on crypto mining, over mining, the process of mining, the efficiency of mining, any of those things you want to tackle?
I don't think any of the main blockchains are super environmentally friendly, right? I'm not a mining expert. From what I understand, though, is like once the hash rate updates, it changes, the previously made chips that were optimized to mine become obsolete, right? Most of those are made in China. Then the Chinese can sell those old chips and use the new ones that are optimized for the new hash rate.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I don't exactly know, right? If I if I was an expert, I'd be able to tell you. I know there's plenty of people that have done very well mining. I think chains like Digibyte, I think, are better, right? Because they don't require super specialized chips. There's multiple mining algorithms, right? So it can't really be gamed or monopolized. It gives a fair shot to many people on what they do. So I think Digibyte is probably one of the best chains to mine if it had some more value. You know what I mean? It had more value,
yeah. There was an article, I believe it was in USA Today, either today or yesterday, and it was referring to in Appalachia, and like a whole farming, like apparently some tech companies are setting up places like nothing but like mining farms, if you will, in the middle of nowhere. Like just whole like warehouses of fans and just computers, just like whatever. And so like whether or not this is good for the locals to have this kind of bringing the industry to that space, or bad for the environment, and more specifically bad for the environment in spaces where otherwise these pollutants wouldn't have been there, just because they're so open and rural otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh goodness, I don't know, man. There's once you have something floating out there that you're calling digital gold, you're gonna have all sorts of people exhausting lots of different resources to go mine, something. I wish Digibyte caught on a little bit better, because I think that it's a great chain. It's environmentally friendly. Like, what's weird is everything that some of these people say, like they're like, I wish Bitcoin was, had multiple ways to mine it, or I wish it was more environmentally friendly. I wish it had faster transaction speed, like, everything. That's Digibyte. It's been there the whole time. It's a modified Litecoin fork. Been around forever. Still exists, right? After all these years, it's not a dead project. That's pretty legitimate. So it shouldn't be going anywhere either. So I wonder if Digibyte, and I like the name. I think the name's cool. I think it's a good name.
I think it exists mostly in your heart, Joey. That's the proof. Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like it's still got, hundreds of millions in market cap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Obviously.
I think it was over $1 billion, $1 billion project. So it was a top 100 token for like years, like 8
Crypto
years
mining
straight.
centers have increased their computing power in order to become the chosen one, the one that will receive Bitcoin in the end. And this drives the energy consumption to insane levels. University of Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance calculates that solely Bitcoin energy consumption is around 130 terawatt hours. And this is equivalent to the consumption of developed nations such as Sweden, Norway, or the United Arab Emirates. And this is only Bitcoin, with exclusion of Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. As most of the world energy still relies on heavily polluted fossil fuels, we can estimate that solely Bitcoin consumption is around 0.43 gigatons of carbon dioxide. And just so we can compare it, it is more than most the European nations produce, and something close to Australian. This is not a way to how to build a new and revolutionary currency for the 21st century, while we are already struggling to lower our emissions and save us from the climate disaster. But let's get back to China. Recently, there was a change in Chinese politics, and now they're trying to favor renewable energy sources. In the region of Inner Mongolia, no new crypto mining centers will be opened, and the currently existing ones will have to be shut down, as in order to cut down on the strategically unneeded power consumption in order to achieve sustainability. And the main question arising from it is, will it become a global trend, or will the Chinese province be an exception? Another aspect that determines the strength of a currency is its stability. And Bitcoin lacks it. As we can see, there are some significant fluctuations in its course, and no one can accurately predict its price in the next 2 months. Let me ask you a question. Would you be willing to accept a payment made by a friend who owes you $100 in an asset that could be worth $200 or $4 in the next 2 weeks? Probably. Most of you would answer no. People tend to have risk-averse preferences, and getting paid in such an asset would be extremely risky. There is no central bank standing behind it that could guarantee that the future exchange rate is going to be at least close to the one today. It is all set by people willing to buy and sell, which, as history shows us, can change drastically over time. Following this instability, Bitcoin lacks a crucial aspect needed for it to become an international currency, which is a popular argument made by Bitcoin enthusiasts. After all of you heard what I said, probably most of you wonder, why is the price so high then? And well, the truth is I only touched the negative aspect and barely touched the positives, which sure are. No matter the less, remember that speculative bubbles have been occurring throughout the history, starting from the famous Mississippi bubble that nearly overturned the French economy in the 18th century, to some more recent ones, such as the dot-com bubble in the 90s and the housing bubble in the early 2000s. And currencies are no different. And the only question is, when will someone press the check button again? As for a commodity with no future, Bitcoin will fail one day and die naturally or by.
Now, this is pretty much the end, so I'm going to cut it there. One of the things that he mentioned, you already hit on, and that's the stability or the instability of Bitcoin, which makes it hard to treat as collateral. It's because the value is constantly changing. But to the other question of whether or not I would accept it as payment, I would. I just wouldn't hold it. Like, if you told me, well, today I'll pay you, whatever I needed. If I had a $20,000 debt and you wanted to pay me in a Bitcoin today, I'd take it today and cash it out. Right. So like, I don't.
Not how all the Bitcoiners got rich.
Well, sure, right. To be fair, I guess most of them, probably were around from when Bitcoin was single dollars or cents. So it's like at that point, after it reaches 10,000, you've gone to the super moon. Then anything after that is a bonus.
Yeah.
So, and then he talks about
this guy's a super fudder, huh?
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what he does. Gets on stage and fuds Bitcoin and then goes home.
He's working for somebody. They want entry, I think. They want entry. No, I don't know. He's right. It's not environmentally friendly. It's not like user friendly. There's better coins, right? Yeah, it's not the best. However, it's the one that people chose. He might be right. It might eventually fail. I mean, all the digital currencies are a bit, unless the blockchain is being backed up to some type of physical data, I think, then, right, are we at risk of some solar flare just wiping out everybody's money?
I think it's a very rare or unlikely a possibility of, like, because you'd have to impact so many machines in so many places in order for us to lose all data. But I mean, to your point, there are some vulnerabilities and maybe some that we're not aware of quite yet. But I don't know. Do you have Bitcoin? If it fails, does crypto fail?
I don't think so. Not many people, like, when you think, I don't believe so. It's about, this is not necessarily all about, this is just my opinion, again, imperfect. It's not all about exchange of value, store of value, value. It's not all about that. It's the blockchain at this point is the world's largest computer, right? It's essentially a computer validating some type of execution on chain, just the same way that your computer does, right? And as long as people are building on that computer, I think that it's fine. So I think that it really depends on what your perspective is. Is it just value? Is it just money? Or is it a computer that's constantly evolving? So there's that. Gosh, there's better chains out there. I don't know how they'll catch on, or if they will catch on and whatnot. I've been really warming up to BSC a lot lately.
Yes, I can tell.
Yeah.
I even heard you speak negatively of ETH the other day, and I was.
Yeah, well, I'm just like trying to figure out, like, why would somebody, is ETH scalable? What's the point? It's not like, I've been trying to figure it out lately. You know, obviously we all like when it goes up. You know, ETH's going up. You know, then the pair values go up, right?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
tokens go up in that regard. So there's that, but it's hard to tell. Hard to tell. Yeah.
All right. So then, if you were designing, if you are starting this project from the beginning, you're creating Bitcoin on your own special beloved blockchain. What are you doing differently from the beginning? You have free reign because you're creating it.
Max wallet.
What's the max wallet for Bitcoin then?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, if it's supposed to be a digital, like the world's digital currency or something, then you'd probably want to be able to distribute it amongst countries and populations and whatnot, and build adoption that way, as opposed to like, you know, Uber whales or people that are just like in the dark web, right? Oh man, I'm not sure. I'm not the best person.
For your own opinion, you're the most qualified person to issue your own opinion that there is, because
Yeah, I just don't have like a super well formula. You know, some
Yeah.
people dive in really deep on these things.
Yeah.
You know, like what Bitcoin means to them and all this stuff. I don't. I think the only value that should be placed in the world is how much you're able to contribute. Right? That's, you know, what can you contribute? Can you teach people things? Can you help people learn? Can you build? Can you you know, harvest? Like what sort of value? If you can't do any of those things, if you just have opinions on things and thoughts about things, like it doesn't, you know, where does the respect go to? Right? Like
Sure.
your ideas. I mean, obviously if they lead to something, right? But I don't know about opinions, and I don't have a well formula. I haven't put a lot of thought into Bitcoin, right? And what it means. A lot of the projects that we do, they're contributing to make things more easy or more fun, right?
Mhm.
So like, you know, at Yasha, there's a great deal of education that goes into it. A lot of the people that have been with us for however long, right, or have been involved in the project for however long, have learned a considerable amount, right? Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, because now they're super deep in crypto and they can go in and find launches and get, you know, scammed or something, right?
Yeah.
That's a negative, right, of learning too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then gosh, like, you know, we try to improve or build upon the technology that already exists,
Mhm.
so that new things are possible, right? Which is much different than what a lot of people are doing out there, right? Like, just come
Sure.
buy this. Well, why? You know, do they deserve respect from the space? Nah, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Maybe their token price goes up because like they're good at getting people into Ponzi's, you know, and good at creating price action that get people speculating on how much money they can make, right? But is it contributing to the space? No, they're a cancer. You know, it's not good. Um, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I agree. I agree with you, in terms of everything that Yasha does, and you know, the science style. I think though, what you said without saying it about Bitcoin is maybe the total number of tokens should have been significantly more. In addition to this idea of a max wallet, that you know, we needed trillions, quadrillions, maybe more, You needed way more tokens if what you wanted to do is create a global currency, right?
No, I don't think so. You always go back to the number of tokens, but the number of tokens never matters, right? Because there's decimal points, right? There's always fractions, and so that's
Yeah.
generally how people measure Bitcoin, right? Is by satoshis, right? Sats.
Satoshi units, yeah. Right, but the challenge that I always give back is at some point after you get enough people in, which are going to be the people who have the most resources to invest in the beginning, then the other people towards the end are going to have fractions of Bitcoin. Just like now, I don't own a Bitcoin, like right. So like when I buy, I'm buying like the smallest little amounts with change and just putting it to the side for one day when it gets to be an adult Bitcoin.
Mhm.
But for now, like, so the point being is, if you had more tokens in a max wallet, then when demand was lower and supply was higher, more people could have gotten in earlier, and you could have, the tide would have raised everybody. Versus you let a lot of people in early, and you're saying the other people who come in later, they'll just have a smaller share. Well, sure, but how is that helpful? Like, why now would someone, just for example, not to say this is the case for everyone who lives there, but why would someone in the Philippines make an investment of, where's their $5? Where are their 5 Philippine pesos going, and how much Bitcoin are you getting for that now versus if there were so much Bitcoin that the supply, that the value that you got per Philippine peso made it advantageous for you to go buy in and have something that could eventually turn into something. You buy now, even if I put $100 in Bitcoin right now, my best case scenario is when this mythical Bitcoin, when Bitcoin hits this mythical or elusive $100,000, maybe I'll have $500.
Yeah, the upside. I mean, 500% is pretty good, right? Or whatever that is, 400%.
If it ever happens,
Yeah.
sure.
It I don't think that speculative price increase is the reason why people buy it, right? I think it's to have I don't know, maybe I'm too philosophical or something. I think I think a lot of people are buying for other reasons.
But if you want a global currency, what I'm saying is
Bitcoin, I don't think is the global currency. It's
right,
the
but
global store of value for like incredibly wealthy people that can manipulate price.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So like, if you wanted to fix that problem, you would have had to have given way more supply. Basically, give the world a 2-year pre-sale, like something so everyone can slowly start to accumulate Bitcoin. And
yeah, that's a great idea, Ken. You cut out on the video. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
But you just you really inspired me just then. I have a plan. I know what I'm gonna do.
I want in on the pre-sale. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
well, that's man, I don't know a whole lot about Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It's not super interesting to me. You know what I mean? Other people think that it's super interesting. It was never that interesting to me. I think immediately when Bitcoin was out, there was immediately better chains, right? Better tech. Anybody had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin very early as well. And to your point a minute ago, it's like that 5 Filipino pesos, right, could have bought a lot of Bitcoin at one point in time, right? I don't know how much a peso is worth,
like 55 USD right now, give or take. I'm sorry, 1 to 55, the other way around. One USD will give me about 55 Philippine pesos right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So I mean, technically, they could have bought a Bitcoin at one point, right?
Yeah, right. But now, I mean, the point I'm making is if I'm emphasizing if you wanted to create a global currency, you need higher supply. The way it's set up, you would need so much higher supply so that everyone had a chance to buy in before the price went through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And you would need the max wallet to your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could dump it, right?
Well, yeah, sure. Someone could dump it. I mean, I am my analogy is predicated on actors acting fairly, and I know it's not necessarily going to be the case, but
you know what? I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
man. Yasha pre-sailers are amazing. When we're looking
Yes.
at the zero chart, it is stable. It is still above launch price. It is still I think everybody's still green, right? Granted, if everybody sells, it's not going to look pretty. However, everybody's holding, is interested in the project, and I think that's super cool. I think it's a really good system that Yasha has for the DAO contributing right to a project. They funded some of the development, right? Everybody funded some of the development, and there they are, and it's actually doing really well. I was pleasantly surprised. I hadn't looked at it for a little bit. I checked in with the dev this morning and last night, and took a look, and I thought it was looking pretty good. With the given market conditions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Global currency, Patty.
I don't know, man. We've been working on that sovereign project. I think you inspired me. Maybe we just open up a global pre-sale and start pitching to countries to see if they want to invest in the sovereign nation of native tribes in North America.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Should be on ERC. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be on Digibyte.
No. You're too committed to Digibyte. Yeah. I don't know, man. It could work, but why not BSC? You love BSC. The fees are inexpensive. It got a bigger name.
I think it's too centralized. Might be too centralized.
Yeah.
I'd have to talk to the Binance incubator people and see what they think. Yeah. It's a bit too right, because that whole chain runs through Binance. So
yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. I get you, because then you lose control and kind of defeats the whole point. You want the people to be.
The point is that somebody can control it, right?
Yeah. That's fair.
I know. Sorry.
That's all right.
Today. I'm like, Bitcoin is like something that I'm actually like not very interested in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the blockchain space, like the evolution of the technology and whatnot, like Bitcoin's pretty much a dinosaur, and you have like big holes and rich people that are able to manipulate the price and hoard Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I think the whole thing is very strange. It's a very interesting experiment on human nature and whatnot, right? So what people are able to use, I'm sure Bitcoin has been used to like even buy like like military boats and stuff, you know what I mean? Like I bet you like there's probably some crazy transactions, and so probably crazy transactions that I don't even want to know about.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
I don't know anything. Any guys watching? I don't know anything.
This will be one of the last times I will mention BTC.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right, Joey. We must wrap.
Cool. Thanks, Ken. Sorry, maybe that one was lackluster. It was lackluster. That guy started off with FUD, and like right into the show, the guy starts talking about some weird stuff. I was like, oh God, like Bitcoin sucks. He fudded me out of Bitcoin. Yeah.
Well, at least he was successful.
Bitcoin to zero. Sorry. Yeah.
It's been real.